You relaunched your TikTok at Real Jeff Jarrett, and you've been working on some websites and stuff we teased last week, right?
Yes. It's with my, I guess you could say my business my different businesses and opportunities. Obviously, me and you, Slapnuts Inc. We embarked on our podcast venture. Is it 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, whatever it may be, and having a blast and stage shows. And I got a lead on one, Conrad. Both of our schedules, we'll have to figure that out. But as a part of that, with Springfield Lucky Horseshoes, with WrestleQuest, I've got a joint venture called Moonsault Digital in the gaming business. With all that being said, I am relaunching globalforceentertainment.com. It is just a website, kind of a one-stop shop for all things that I'm involved in. It's pretty cool. We're going to have some wrestling news on there, of course, because you can't really have news or day-to-day stuff about the last outlaw, Jeff Jarrett, without including wrestling. So it's going to have wrestling, gaming, baseball, podcast, a little bit of everything. That's globalforceentertainment.com. And then just specifically for the podcast with our ads and our partners and boxinggimmicks.com and all kind YouTube, everything that kind of goes specifically with the podcast, realjeffjarrett.com. It's real simple, realjeffjarrett.com. So as a part of that, I've partnered with some great folks in Real Jeff Jarrett. TikTok is I've never done too much. I've had different folks kind of shoot me videos here and there, but now we're going to be cranking out a lot of content. Conrad, at Ad Freeze, I'll let you speak more to it, but our YouTube initiative across the board, I guess you could just say we're upping our game across all levels. What's the catchy catchphrase on YouTube? Why don't you subscribe, hit that bell, whatever it may be. But no, just growing all the platforms, kind of a one-stop shop for all of our ads. Anything that we advertise on the podcast, you can also go to either of the website, globalforceentertainment.com or realjeffjarrett.com. So, relaunching a lot of things, and it's the weekend to do it. With everybody who's loosely associated with wrestling. We figured we were going to do it at the beginning of the new year and didn't have a couple of things ready. So we're ready. We're off and running. So all things Jeff Jarrett, AEW, baseball, and the such, my man.
Check it out if you haven't already. Real Jeff Jarrett on TikTok and, of course, globalforceentertainment.com. And if you're on the website, globalforceentertainment.com, you'll see right at the top, little wrestling coming to the Capital City Clash in conjunction with Shoes Baseball, the Lucky Horseshoes, the Springfield Lucky Horseshoes. It's going down on September 21st, 2024. Wrestling and baseball, it goes together like apple pie and vanilla ice cream. Goodness gracious, how pumped are you for this?
Conrad, it goes without saying, coming out of the pandemic, my partner, Jamie Toole, reached out to me, who at that time was just a longtime friend, a minor league baseball executive, the very, very cream of the crop, the very, very tip top. And he made a decision coming out of the pandemic that he wanted to basically take a step to the next level. And so he put together an ownership group, invited me, very grateful for that. And we launched at 2:17 p.m. On February 17th in the 217 area code of Springfield. That's when we launched the Springfield Lucky Horseshoes 2 seasons ago. And since the day I arrived in Springfield and got to know Newhoff Media as our partners, Conrad, you would love the folks, Sam Bedonia, and I could go on and on about, but they are fantastic media folks in the market. They're partnering with us, but since day one, I went to Robin Roberts Stadium. It's got so much history. Satchel Paige played in. I mean, I could go on and on about the history of baseball, but have said from day one, man, putting a wrestling ring on home plate is a dream of mine because I've gotten so involved with the community. You know, our saying at the Lucky Horseshoes is baseball. It's our platform. It's not our purpose. Our purpose really is to bring that community together. bring them out 30 or 40 nights a year, and enjoy a cold beverage and some food and watch some baseball and lots of entertainment. But we've done that, and we could not be more excited to go into to year 3. But this is the year that we decided, let's do a big base brawl, big Capital City Clash is what we've named it. So it'll be the first annual one at the end of the season. So Saturday, September 21st. I know that's a couple of months off, but we're going to put tickets on sale this Friday. Connie, I could just say this: there's someone local in the community that I've already got a guitar lined up for his ass. So yeah.
I've never been to a Shoes game. That'll be my first one. I'm gonna make that happen. September 21st, Capital City Clash. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, we're all very, very excited. We're not going to do it now. We're going to get closer to the season, but we'll talk about all the different promotional nights. Arn Anderson is going to be there for Horseman Night, Sergeant Slaughter for Military Night, but we got all kinds of things lined up. But yeah, Capital City Clash. We just announced it this week, and tickets go on sale this Friday. Shoesbaseball.com.
We should also mention that there's some other news and notes from the weekend before we talk about our topic today, which is 2019 for you. But, we've talked a lot about the Cody Rhodes story on this podcast and every other podcast. But another story that sort of quietly was under the rug on Friday night, I want to bring to the light because I think it's such a great story. And I don't think you have to have been a huge Ring of Honor fan to really get it and understand it. Of course, I'm talking about Mark Briscoe's historic win over Eddie Kingston. He is now the Ring of Honor world champion, and it happened 11 years to the day after his brother Jay won that world title for the first time. Some things are just meant to be, and considering what a big part of Ring of Honor the Briscoes were and how tragic it was that we lost Jay and nearly lost his girls, and they overcame. And now Mark wins the world title in Philadelphia, which is one of Pennsylvania is the spiritual home of Ring of Honor. And he won the world title there 11 years to the day after his brother did. Man, this was just great wrestling. What'd you think of this?
I'm going to go back to something that we often mention on this show that I have said different ways, but I think at the very core of everybody that puts on boots, it is something that we are emotionally attached to the industry. It's that simple. You can get into this business. You can say, I want to be a world champion, or I want to make a lot of money, or famous, or whatever it may be, but there's an emotional attachment to it. And look, I can't relate on this deep a level. Him winning the world title, Mark winning the world title, and his brother won it 11 years ago. So to have a big brother, if you will, in this business, that they teamed and the success they had, but to have this opportunity, the emotional bandwidth that in a lot of ways that he carried with his match, and I watched it Friday night, that he carried with him is just powerful. How can you not hear about or watch that story and not just have a real feel good moment? That's what, so the Ring of Honor brand had an equally as a feel good moment to me as the WWE brand. It is something that it is a story that you could not script, because in the Briscoes set of circumstances, what extreme tragedy. But in so many ways, the tragedy of losing his big brother is in essence the platform that made this night so special for himself, for his parents. God, seeing his dad in the ring, how emotional that was. His family, his brother's family, on the weekend, that everything that kind of goes with it. Me seeing Jay Lethal who obviously I've been close with Jay, but super close over the last couple of years. Seeing him there, it is Connie. I'm going back to the emotional attachment that we as talent truly have. It's obviously a night that many folks will never forget. It was special.
Go out of your way to see it. It's one of the things that makes wrestling great. And before we move on to our topic, I want to give some shout out and some props to a guy who you and I haven't spent a ton of time talking about, but I know how proud you had to be. Behind the scenes, Bobby Roode has become a power player to the point where he produced, alongside Michael Hayes, the main event on night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania, and that fabulous parking lot beatdown from a few weeks ago with The Rock and Cody in the rain in Chicago. Man, Robert Roode was one hell of a wrestler, but he might just be a pretty damn good agent too, huh?
Hey, don't get me started on B Roode. You know, I've told the story on this podcast. Bobby Roode did a promo backstage in the Asylum days of TNA, and his look and everything that went with it. And he delivered the promo, and I knew that he had some type of tryout or look-see or something with the WWE. And he got done with the promo, and this is 2002. Yeah. So 20 something years ago, I look at Scott D'Amore and say, now, why didn't they sign him? Like, are you sure? I couldn't believe that they didn't scoop him up then. To me, he's that kind of talent. And I say this, that his demeanor, and all through the years, you know, Bobby, me had a very close relationship, all through our time. And he actually texted me on Sting's last match. Said, hey man, give Stinger a hug for me and tell him congrats. That's Bobby. I literally can't say enough good things about him. And it doesn't surprise me at all that he is stepping right into that producer role. He's a thinking man. That's when I look back on my time with TNA, I was the lucky one. AJ, phenomenal talent, pardon the pun. Abyss, a thinking man. Bobby Roode, Eric Young. I could just go all the way down the list, but Bobby, always a strategist, thinking, you know, him and James and Beer Money. When you kind of put that yin and yang of that together, Bobby he's a hell of a talent and a hell of a mind. And most importantly, really, and I don't say this as cliches, he's a great dude, man. He is a really good guy. So congrats, B Roode.
Shout out to Mr. Roode, man, doing big things in the ring and out of the ring.